It was a horrific sight December 18th.
And when you say safety is a priority and you see something like that,
a school bus carrying 15 James Singleton Charter School students flipped coming down the high-rise.
For many people, it probably was a wake-up call.
The day of the crash, we broke the story that the Hammonds transportation bus had not passed the required city safety inspection.
Buses have to be inspected, and if buses are not inspected, it's unacceptable.
1 inch on this side. It's good.
At the time of the crash, only 60% of school buses driving for New Orleans-based charter schools had passed inspection. A month later, that rose to 86%.
I'm glad to see that we're at 86, but we still have a ways to go.
But the lack of safety inspections is only part of the problem with charter school transportation. This school year, the city of New Orleans started issuing new bus driver permits called CPNCs.
Your bus looks like it's good. I see your stickers, but you got a driver's permit with you?
Trying to make sure drivers are properly trained and don't have serious driving, drug, or violent criminal offenses on their record. But Chad Rodney, the driver of the Hammonds bus that crashed on the high-rise, did not have a CPNC. In fact, his application was rejected because he had a 2019 cocaine conviction.
The driver should not have been transporting students, flat out.
We asked NOLA Public Schools Superintendent Henderson Lewis if the school district knew how many bus drivers were on the street without the required permit.
My hope is that it was an isolated incident.
But our research shows it wasn't. Last semester, 36 New Orleans charter school companies responded to our public records requests and provided us with the names of 472 bus drivers. In mid-November, the city of New Orleans gave us its list of all bus drivers who had been granted CPNCs. We compared the two lists and found 95 drivers named by the schools did not have a CPNC by mid-November. That's one of every 5 drivers who at some point last year were driving public school kids without the required permit.
If this were the state of Michigan, those bus companies would be shut down. Their buses would not have been allowed to transport a child on the first day of school.
George Horn is the former Jefferson Parish School Superintendent. When he retired in 1992, he became the state's leading expert on school bus safety. He said Louisiana lags way behind other states in enforcing its school bus regulations.
If we're going to allow these things to happen and only get excited about it after a child gets killed or seriously injured, shame on us.
Charter schools were slow to enforce the new city requirements. At James Singleton, the school that suffered the high-rise crash, CEO Doug Evans said they knew the driver's criminal record before the crash, but had only checked for a commercial driver's license, not whether he had a CPNC.
Accident was a wake-up call for us, and I'm sure for the community.
Now, Evans says his staff checks every bus and every driver for permits, every morning when they drop kids off and every afternoon when they pick them up.
It's labor intensive, but it's a price we'll have to pay to make sure that the compliance issues are dealt with properly.
Robert Russa Moton Charter School took a different tack.
And those proposals are due on January the 29th.
It put its bus contract out for a new bid after learning that none of its current contractors' buses had passed inspection, and 3 of its 4 drivers had no city permit.
Safety in a clean, positive learning environment, all that goes together, but safety number one.
But a lot of schools say that, and then they rely on the bus companies.
We don't rely on the bus company.
But Moton's attorney, Willie Zanders, admits the school did rely on the bus company, WR Transport, when WR owner Walter Richardson said his drivers were waiting on the city to issue the CPNCs.
I put mine in way in the summer, and I'm still waiting on mine.
Oh,
it's not that we haven't done what they asked, we just waiting for them.
If they tell us they're in the process of getting it done, we work with them. Going forward, because we know you keep up with everything, we'll put them on some compliance notice until we get the paperwork.
Foundation Prep is another charter school organization that hired WR and got 5 unpermitted drivers. The school said it's withholding payment from WR and set a hard deadline of this Friday for its buses and drivers to be in full compliance, or WR will be replaced. Our data analysis shows that 5 other charter school organizations also have had a majority of their drivers operating without the required permits. Those are Ben Franklin Elementary, Warren Easton High, Success Prep, Sophie B. Wright, and Bethune Elementary. 3 other charter school groups never even turned over the names of their drivers, as required by the state public records law. Encore Academy, First Line Schools, and New Harmony High.
One top city official told me about 6 months ago, it's going to take a kid dying for us to fully take this seriously.
Unfortunately, that's true. And of course, then not only has that child lost his life, but there's going to be protracted litigation going on, and it's just, there's no excuse for this. We've got to do our jobs.